Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening?
Sis, you are looking quite lovely on this evening, I must say.
Thank you, darling.
You're
So,
welcome.
you too?
Thank you. Oh, let me get my notes out. I gotta test some things, you guys, for our. Oh my gosh, how are you feeling? Let me get my notes ready.
I'm good. I'm very pleased with the group of young entrepreneurs and business persons and amazing human beings that we had on the show this evening. Um, Very impressive. Great, strong minds, good heads on their shoulders. And I can appreciate the honesty and transparency of each and every one of them.
They really were fearless, were they not? I guess it kind of comes with the territory when you're that age. My mom was talking to me about that at one point, at the onset of the pandemic. She was saying, she was like, they should feel, what did she say? She didn't say fearless, invincible. She said they should feel invincible at this time. And the whole point was, how do you get, your youth to understand there's a pandemic happening. You can't just be everywhere all the time and all of that. That was the context to which we were talking about. But they should, but not everybody that age is so forthcoming with their personal business and vulnerability. You know what I mean? So I really do respect them for that. I really do. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I have problems. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate that. Thank you for watching.
Melvin,
What's up? What's up?
what are your thoughts?
Um, we had a great group of level-headed young adults. Um, I can say that their parents or the guardians or the people that are in their life definitely you can see the work. I worked with youth before at that age, and they're not as focused, not as developed, and definitely not so much as forthcoming, but with no direction. And I can say that every last one of those young people that we had tonight definitely have direction, definitely have focus, definitely have drive. They're inspired, encouraged, and motivated by we didn't get an opportunity to find out where some of those motivations come to keep going, but you can definitely see that they have that, but it came from somewhere,
Right.
So that's a good reflection. I hope that there were other youth watching that, because you want to, it's more youth not doing what they're doing than it is ones that's doing what they're doing. So for a 24-year-old female with no kids, who have bought her first home at 24, 25, you want that kind of story to be played out in the community. You want more young girls, not saying, what, if I wait to have kids, or I can avoid, this particular struggle, by not partaking in the things that would create that, then, having that, it's not even for her, it wasn't so much as a career as it was a goal.
Right.
It wasn't a career move to buy a house, it was a goal to have a house. And, I'm pretty sure she could tell you, speak to other young women her age coming up to say that are 17, 18, 19, that kind of thing. Because a lot of our community, we don't know how to create stability. Okay. And Patty just showed you at a very young age how you could create stability for yourself. Of course, hopefully, she moves on to, this is just her first, amongst many.
Absolutely.
But to help other young people create that type of stability. You think about all the ones that don't have homes and don't know how to get it. You think about the children who are 18 and 19 whose parents have been renting their whole life.
Yeah.
So those kind of generational things that we seem to fall under. So having someone like Patty saying, "Hey, I'm 24 years old. This is how I did it." I'm pretty sure it took some discipline,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Absolutely.
and wherever her inspiration came from, I'm pretty sure that you can be inspired, you can definitely be motivated, but the discipline part is what I think that she would, she has great value in probably talking to other youngsters her age to
Oh
say,
yeah.
this is how that happened.
And I think that she should create a platform if she can get the right support, create a platform not just of herself but of other young people just like her that have
Sure.
created the space and the ability to and the discipline, right? That has to come from within in order to buy your first home. Because I, like you said, the generational curses, and I was raised in a house. So I lived in an apartment for part of my adult life, but not long, because when I had my son and when I found out that I was pregnant, oh, it was about me getting a house. And actually, before then, it was about me getting a house, but I was extremely committed and driven to getting that house sooner than later when I had my son, because I thought I was going to be moving, so I wasn't exactly sure where I was going to end up being. But I was raised in a house, and I tell my son, mommy was raised in a house. So I believe in raising my son in a house. Your kids will be raised in a home, because you have your own space, your own environment. You don't have to deal with the neighbors upstairs, upside and behind you, the landlords, all that. You have a responsibility. Now, house is not where you could just move into a house and it's like, oh, easy gravy. Now, if you want that, go and keep yourself in an apartment where somebody else takes care of all the maintenance and responsibilities. But to have your own and have your children or your child in their own space, it's nothing like that. It's absolutely nothing like that. So I firmly agree. And I think Patty would be an excellent person to create that platform for herself where she can branch out, I know she's in management in her job, but being a leader in her community, being a leader, whether she goes to talk at her school once a week or her elementary schools or high schools once a week or whatever that can look like for her. Maybe she can sit down and kind of ponder over that. Jania, she has a very strong will and strong head on her shoulders. I talk to her quite often. Talk to her mom. Her mom is a go-getter. Her sister, Katori, she has a line herself, a lip gloss line. So they're very entrepreneurial minded. And Katori, she's in like nursing school, and she's 15, 16, Kamani's 15. So she's like 15, 16 years old herself. And so both of, Jania and her sister and her mom, they clean eating, healthy eating, just really strong and focused young ladies and individuals that are really pursuing their dreams in their lives. And they have a strong and amazing support system between the parents and the grandparents and the church community, and just know where they want to go. So that's extremely impressive. And I know that, with the right network and connections and exposure, she will get exactly where she's trying to be.
Yeah.
Even with Harold, Harold is such an impressive young man. He's very quiet, he's very reserved, but he has a strong heart and a solid foundation. Harold has the imagination available, because you have to have a level of imagination to write books. But to put his heart into it, his thoughts into it, his passions into it, and like release whatever there is for him to get out and put it on that paper. That is amazing.
And I can tell you something, sis. I don't know how this is going to sound, but this is a really raw. So when he was little, when he was littler, that's something we like to say. I would show him movies of men of valor, like the Three Musketeers or Lord of the Rings, you know, and I think it had somewhat of an influence on him. And this guy would watch documentaries. I mean, he would be like 7 or 8, and when he'd be on YouTube watching them. He just was that kind of guy. I'm just going to fill my head with knowledge, and he would read Revelations just because he would just sit there and read it. And so he always saw himself fighting for what's right. And that is the meaning of his name, his biblical name, is that leader and that man standing for justice and these things. And so the book is so incredible. It really is fantastical the way it mimics the Bible, and it's in the process right now of finishing the editing portion. So I'm looking forward to it. And it is a dream. I would always tell him, as a mom, let me be able to look out into the world and see my son and feel like and see honor looking back at me. Make sure when I look out at you, I see honor looking back at me. I don't know if that put too much pressure on him. Now, I said that, but I haven't held him by the neck. I would challenge him, but I'm so proud of him. I really, really am. I mean, he's so beautiful, and he's such a wonderful, wonderful dude. I don't care about his mistakes. I don't care about his flaws. I just know that I am so blessed to have that kind of young man that belongs to me. I love my son. I love all my children. But since we are talking about Harold, because he was a guest, I'm so proud of him because he was nervous, but he held really well.
He did
shine out of my baby. And I'm proud of Teray. I was there when his mommy was pregnant, and I babysat him a lot. And I would sing to him in the belly all the time. I'm so proud of him. I just love that little boy. July 5th, 1995. But I just love my babies. I was like, oh, both my sons on here.
And it was touching when Harold spoke of his sister looking over his crib.
I'm gonna have to find a picture and show it to you.
That meant something to him, and his ability to just be still and acknowledge her. That spoke to her spirit, and that's a beautiful thing. And with Ray, I don't know the young man, but just from engaging with him on the show and his communication, he has a very strong head on his shoulders. He knows exactly where he's going. Like Melvin saying, with the discipline, you have to be able to be disciplined in this, and especially in that type of environment, and the capacity to say no and stand by your word and know the risk that you take in every single time that you're walking out of that door is a risk that you have to calculate. You really have to calculate it. And, I heard him say his wife. I'm not gonna skip over that,
I'm calling him, and we're gonna talk about that. I love it though. I love it.
What you gonna talk about? What you gonna talk about that with him?
I want to talk to him about those affections.
About what about
his godmother?
What about him?
What you mean?
You brought it up.
I want to talk to him about the relationship. I want to know where he is, who she is. I want to know about them.
Oh, so you don't know her?
No.
Oh. That's a rude awakening. I can tell you that now.
I won't say it's too rude, but I would say I'm going to learn about it because I want to support it.
I say it will be a rude awakening. Whenever a man of his stature address the whole world with her name first before his family, whatever you want to talk about, make sure that whatever you say first, pray about what you're going to say first. Because I can tell you right now, everything about that woman is right here, sitting right here on this chest. And so a lot of times when we think we're going to say something like, oh yeah, I'm interested, this, that, and the other, inquisitive, I can tell you as a man myself, when you put it out there in the world like that, not only are you very protective of it, but you got the shield, the sword, you got the whole body armor in front of that. And at that age, you got to remember, well, not as a man, I remember how protective of that was, like the whole thing. Like, I wish you would. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times, it is just like what we talked about earlier, when parents think they saying stuff that is maybe encouraging or trying to help or whatever. It's the mind of the person that's receiving your words. You know, so it's not more so like, you know, I'm happy for you, God bless you, let me pray for you, or the sense that, well, who is this? How long y'all been here?
Well, no, I'm not coming at him like that, because he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. I want him to know that I support him and how much I was proud of him for saying that. That was so lovely to me. I loved it.
I still don't get 25, 26 as accomplished as they are. They still not grown.
No, they're not grown.
There's a whole lot that they have to learn and be. And I hope that we help them I hope we put things on their mind tonight to help them grow. Because even though, as Patty 24 years old, 25, she still has a lot to learn, and I think she realized that. You know, just by her what she was giving off, I think she still realized she got a lot to learn, and she can grow a whole lot more than where she is. And you know, I will say, what's the other young lady name?
Jania.
Who?
Jania.
Okay, Jania, and I will say Jania and Teray, that they are, because of the career choices, they're at a level, like Teray said, where they're in the spotlight, and they constantly have to be aware of what they're saying, what they're doing, where they are, who they're with, who they connected to, because her business and his music, you know, people are always going to try to poke holes in what they're trying to do. And you know how folks are. They see them rising to the cream, rises to the top. And they see those two young people as rising to the top. Especially, we just put them out to the world. You know? And so now folks are going to try to find fault with either what they're doing or what they're not doing. So I hope that we are able to encourage, motivate, and inspire in some way, shape, form, or fashion, that they could, you know, they stay focus driven, you know, moving up to the top. You don't hear young men like Teray talking the way he spoke in regards to God, and I will say in regards to sex, in regards to women, in regards to parties. This boy goes to LA back and forth, managing a music studio and his music back and forth now. Going back and forth. There's a whole lot he could do in LA that they wouldn't know in some Louisiana. And there's a plan, but he's focused on maintaining a level of being beyond reproach, not for anybody's sake, not for the woman he said or for his family, but for God's sake.
That's right.
Who wants to be beyond reproach for God's sake? Man, you don't have a lot of people his age talking like that, if any.
Nope.
And that right there, that to above anything else that he said, his video was great, his lyrics were wonderful, but that character, personality, that character part of him is beyond anything he could ever do.
Absolutely.
Whether, you know what I'm saying, whether he became famous in music or not, that part right there, that just blew me away.
Absolutely. I firmly agree.
I'm so proud of him. It took so much for me not to cry just looking at him. Before we got on, we talked earlier today, and I wanted to cry because I'm so proud of him. I don't know how to say it. It's just so lovely to see. And even Patty, because I've been knowing them since 2007, so she was really a little girl. Like, look at you, woman. You know?
You want to cry with her too?
No, not really, because I'm closer to Ruth. But it's just, I don't know. It's just really amazing. I don't care about you, Melvin.
You know what? I just want to say,
I don't care about you, boy. I don't care about you right now. I can be emotional and proud of my son.
Most of this night have been so serious. It has not.
You on here tonight, boy.
What you said? You about to comb that head some more with that rat boy. That's your best friend. What you say now?
It don't even matter. Real family, God family, third cousins. We had a whole host of it. You like, I don't even know what to say. Yeah. You know what I say about everybody. I remember when she was in a walk. Really? Dang. You know her too? Boy. Well, we got through that one.
You be cutting up because you wanna try to pluck my nerve, Melvin, but you can't pluck my nerves because I'm feeling so good because I saw my sons in action. You're not gonna get on my nerves tonight, sucker.
The family reunion. Will you
I'm gonna take that moment and I'm gonna cut that clip of you singing that, dude. That's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna go from you combing that head to family reunion.
Yeah, it is. That's how I feel. I need to play the reel.
I played a witch. Did you say real?
Yeah, some big beans now. Oh, everybody came through.
That'll be a sight to see. Watch you eat them suckers too. Boca the Changa. You all right over there, girl? You fanning off a hot there?
I don't have nothing to say this evening.
There ain't nobody worried about Dr. Hayden.
I have nothing to say this evening. That's all I can say. I'm just very pleased with these youth. I'm
Awesome.
I hope that they are able to take their experience, because this is just one level. This is just one moment. And although we're not at Oprah level yet, they are on a platform.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
We'll support them. Oh, she's cussing them kids out. You better not be saying that wrong to them children.
I didn't say anything wrong, darling. Go ahead.
You know, this is a stepping stone for them, just like anybody else that has the opportunity to engage and share with us on this platform. And I just pray that God elevates them to the highest level of his calling.
Of course.
I pray that the people that were able to listen, people that come back and listen, has the opportunity to really open their ears without judgment and hear their hearts, and look at the fact that they were mature enough to come on this platform and handle themselves in a way to make a difference for the audience and for the listeners and even for us.
I think their parents are proud as well. You know, you don't really know what your kid can do until they put in that situation. And I know if this was the first time, you know, that some of them may have been doing something like this, they can sit back and say, wow, you know, you don't necessarily hear at that, even at that age, you don't necessarily have an opportunity to publicly thank your parents or the people who have got you there, you know, not this young either.
Right.
You know, you do have an opportunity for them, you know, was the first thing to say, yeah, my parents, they were, you know, the biggest influence. And then, you know what, I'm going to tell you, I can't think, Jania. what I loved what she said. She said, number one, she has a blended family. Number two, she said, my mom, my dad, and my stepdad. You know, she recognized every single adult that has poured into her. And obviously all those things have been positive interactions, you know, and motivate, you know, inspirational. You can see the love there and everything like that. And that's something else that you don't see. You know, the opportunity for that blended part. You know what I mean? To see it in action and the results of it.
Exactly. And that's why I want
to see it and the result. That's good.
These youth are who they are, who they know themselves to be first and foremost, and introduce those youth into the world, because they're everyday people. They're not millionaires and billionaires yet, but they're everyday people. And look at where they came from in their humble beginnings, and look at the fact that they acknowledge and are able to thank their parents, like you say, because I did not want them to leave this space without having that opportunity to say thank you. Because without that molding and that support system and that love and that grooming and that nurturing, they wouldn't be where they are today. Because I don't remember exactly who said it, but you know, if you give up, I think it was Harold, if you give up on that child, and it's important to stay consistent. And, you know, even though they may not necessarily do as you desire or as you expect, staying consistent and not leaving them out by the wayside and giving up on them keeps them focused and desiring to want to keep pushing through, regardless of how difficult it may be. You know, and so they were able to give nuggets of wisdom to the adults, and they were able to give nuggets of wisdom to the youth. And then the collective family, when they watch this, if they choose to watch this together, you know, it's all about making an impact, and it's all about, you know, families healing and individuals healing, and us always being able to call people into action. You know,
well, I think you did. I think we did that, and I believe that I really like what Melvin talked about with the whole sexual vibe with the seed. That was very profound. It was the first time I ever heard something like that. I appreciated Harold for opening the door for that conversation, because people don't really talk to their kids about, you know, their desires sexually and things of that nature. And so I'm really thankful that you said that. I also am just really happy that those guys made the younger folks that are listening, because I have several educators that sent this to their kids and that are going to watch it later with them as well, so that they can see that you can be thinking about these things. You know, some people, regardless of if you've grown up in a home or not, there may be people who have never even heard you can own a home. You know what I mean? Just the idea of owning it, you know, and just some people don't even say you can do. They don't even think they can if they've never heard it, you know?
We said last week, we talked about, you know, the fact that, you know, who raised you, you know what I'm saying? You are that, you know, you're enough. That you don't, you know, I think the whole title was You Are Enough. You know, where that comes from. You don't have to search for anyone to validate or fix you or make you whole. You're a whole person, you know, when you out there. I will say that the one thing that I did want to say to Harold about being consistent from parents, it's a balance, and it's a healthy balance when you get it right. Because parents don't leave you out there, but they give you enough rope to learn on your own, and they pull you back in when you done got too far.
Sure.
In that time when you resist about coming back in because you didn't, you know, it's like you get out there too far and you think you know it.
Yeah.
You know, guess what? I'm still holding the rope. I'm just letting you flail out in the wind until you realize that you need help.
Yeah.
So that part about, you know, being like, oh, just stay consistent, and no, we consistent because that rope is around the waist and we just holding it. You see what I'm saying? And when they don't pull back, when we pull back in and they resist, and we just say, okay, you can put your hands like this, but that rope's still around your waist, just letting you in the wind and it's just flowing. You've been watching you, you know what I'm saying, until you decide, oh, I need some help. Oh, you need some help now? And we right there.
Okay. Come on back in.
That's right. And that's what,
and you know what?
Parents definitely need to have that conversation with their kids. You know, when they see it, like, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you that this is what I'm doing, so you know where I am. Awesome. You know,
and it's the same thing with God. You know, God gives us free will and choice, free choice and will.
Absolutely, sis.
And He just lets us dangle out there, and we can ask what we think we want.
Yeah,
and we can act like we want if we want to, but Daddy, no.
Right.
But wait, have you ever been like telling your kids something and you like hear God telling it to you?
Oh yeah. Well, I would hope. If you don't,
in the process of being parental,
no. I'm just saying
the message to you.
No, I'm just saying because some people are not open to listening to God, even in the midst of that. But they will put it off on, oh, God said blah blah blah. No, God talking to you. You better be still. You ain't no different because He's chastising you because there's something that He needs you to get. At the same time, there's something that you need to get. Your child need to receive, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
So there's no difference between the chain. The chain of command, He's at the very top. And if we're not listening to Him, then our children are not going to listen to us. So we can also look at that line and say, okay, there's a direct disconnect.
Right.
Because I'm not where I need to be. So I need to step back and evaluate my situation, my circumstances, and what I'm doing, my way of thinking. And maybe if I alter me, if I do better, then my child, because my child may be seeing something about me that I don't see. And that's maybe where that rebellion is coming in also. So, you know, we just have to be mindful of who we're listening to and remember that, no, we're not broken. None of us are broken. None of our children, none of us. We are whole and complete. We are perfect as in God's image and the way God made us. But we are yet still flawed. And there's always room for improvement and growth.
I want to say that there are sometimes you can be living your life to the best of your ability, and your kids will still make some choices that you just don't make.
Oh, indeed.
You know, eventually they'll wrap around to it and see it and receive it. But yeah, I just said that not to negate anything you said. I hope it didn't come across that way.
That's
I just said that just so if somebody, I was in a mindset at one point that if I do everything this way right, then my child will see it and they'll do it too. And that's only because, hang on, that's only because somebody taught me that, and I had to learn for myself that that's not true. And just in case somebody's listening and is in that space where I way used to be in, I just wanted to say that so they know it's just not the case. Kids gonna do what they gonna do.
We're gonna always be flawed. There's never a way for us to do everything perfect. And we have to learn to get that part up out of our space as well, because we're going to always make mistakes because we're living based on what we know, what we've learned, what we understood, what we felt is right in that moment. Don't make it right, but it don't make it wrong because nobody's walking in your footsteps. Nobody's in your shoes to predetermine for you what was right or wrong, because just because you may have done it differently don't mean that would have been a decision that I made, because based on me as an individual human being who's been through some stuff, who's walked this life every single day of my life, only I can determine what is right for me in my situation at that particular time. Not saying it's going to be right all the time, not saying it's going to be wrong, but I can't judge you for the decisions that you make and how you chose to walk, because I haven't walked a day in your shoes. I'm not you. I have no way of understanding your conditions, your situation, your mindset, your experiences. So for all I know, or what you've been exposed or to or taught. So for all I know, if I'm sitting there judging you and saying that you're wrong on something, I could be the one that's wrong. Because I don't understand. And sometimes we may never understand, and that's what you can agree to disagree, and you keep on moving. But one thing we have to be responsible for is not judging one another, because God is the only one that's going to judge. He's the one that's going to hit that gavel on the table and make that decision, because he knows every hair on our head, the soles of our feet, and what decisions and how he created us. And he already knew what we were going to go through. Decisions we were going to make.
Is that people say don't judge, right? But sometimes they don't realize that they have judgmental ways. And a lot of times that comes from religiosity. It comes from religiosity. It comes from the way that people live themselves inside of religion, what they're being taught at their churches. And sometimes it's just church jargon. You're saying we don't judge, and then at the next time they're breaking people's lives down apart. So I said that to say sometimes people don't realize they're being judging, and the only way you can, I think, well, let me say it like this, not the only way, but a good way to overcome that mindset is to really allow the love of God into your heart. Once you get used to receiving his love, you start learning how flawed you are. And then you have that grace, that godly grace for other people to be exactly who they are, as they are, and love them through their moments.
And that's true.
I'm so sorry to say it like this, but we are at a point to where we need to come to a close for our wonderful after show party. And so I know that there are some people watching. I wanted to open up, if you guys have any prayer requests, please put them in the comment section so that we can cover them. And if not, in a little bit, we're going to start in about 3 minutes. We're going to just pray over everybody generally. And thank you guys so much for coming.
Melvin, your thoughts. A penny for your thoughts.
That's all it works to.
Judgment. Remember that you will be judged on the same measure that you judge someone else. So whatever, however you deem, whatever mercy or grace that you don't bestow on someone else because of your thoughts toward them, that's the same level of mercy and grace that won't be bestowed on you, because it comes back around. So when we say that, because we say no judgment zone, we really do have to, I was for real. And I'm gonna tell you and tell Cassine that wasn't how it was said, but I ain't gonna say that. That ain't how it actually pronounced, but I'm gonna leave that alone. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I'd rather you look into the word. Look in the word for accuracy and for truth.
Oh yeah, it's right here. But we all of a sudden don't have no time and we gotta go.
But look, Melvin, I'm just putting it out there. Look into the word.
Thank you, sis. Put it out there.
And the accuracy. Then somebody to judge. Okay, you for not being responsible, and for us for not being responsible for making sure that we present the word in the way the word is supposed to be presented in truth. Okay,
that's
so
right.
You have your
what was that word again, Nakia? Say that again. What word was that you used? It started with a T.
Truth. It's all about the truth, and because we all can pull out our Bibles now.
Yeah, because it's right.
So
I have no idea. I really, where did you go? I don't even know what you're talking about.
What she's saying is that she would rather you go into the Word of God and look at the truth and present it than to say something that is not right or that is not actually in the Word. That's what she's saying.
Whether it's you, me, or Vaughn. You understand what I'm saying?
So you making a statement. This wasn't off of nothing.
No, this is off of something, and it is a statement that is being made for clarity, because we're not out there to present anything and just throw something out there, because there's a lot of hypocrites out here in the world. There's a lot of people that just gonna throw something out there in the atmosphere, but we are real and raw, and we about being real, and we about having the truth being spoken as the way the word is being presented by God and not by man. So we people judge and people look at what it is that we do and what we don't do. Okay, so I wanted to be judge, and I wanted to be clear that yes, I will pull out my Bible at any moment. We put out our word, but we want to make sure that what we're delivering out there to the people is God's word in the right way. It's the truth. So you don't have to scratch your head, Melvin. I got your back.
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know where you at.
Don't worry about it. Just know that I got your back. Just know this Trinity right here, this triangle right here, what God created in this alliance, can't be touched.
Did you say
that? I just need you to know that. I just need you to know that because
like Harold said, I can go to bed on that.
Praise God.
Please don't put her in no anxiety. Just do me a favor. When we end this broadcast, just give us 2 minutos, okay? That back. I won. Aren't you proud of me? I did it. I'm so proud of myself. Can I have like 75 cool points?
Yes, you can.
I almost did it, girl. That little buzzer. Look here.
I don't know what happened.
Melvin.
What?
Melvin.
I was saying something, and I think I hit one of the keys on the board, and I was like, "What?" I'm sitting here like, "What happened?"
Just be still. Just be still. We gonna have an after the show, after party conversation. This the three.
Not alone with Jesus. I'm sleepy yet. Look, just
11:52, bro. It's 11:52.
Right.
I know. Just hold
Melvin, what I'm trying to say to you is when we stop the broadcast, I will make it clear what Nakia was saying. Okay, but it's
I got your back.
Lord Jesus, nobody put something in there. Father God, I thank you for everybody under the sound of my voice. I pray that your homes are safe and secure. I thank you that those who are still suffering with pipe leaks and all of that, God, that you do a quick work. I know this sounds kind of ridiculous, but I just want to say, Lord, please keep plumbers from overcharging people for the work that they're doing in their homes. And I just really want to speak a special blessing over all of our viewers. Lord, just bless them with the desires of their heart. In Jesus' name, amen. You guys have a wonderful evening. We love you, Melvin. Don't you touch that.